Thank you. Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Evening.
Let's open the Board of License Commissioner meeting. Today is September 13, 2023. We'll open the meeting at 5:30 p.m. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for our meeting held Wednesday, August 23rd. Did everyone have an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions or changes?
There was one that I saw, Madam Chair, and that was the fifth order and the seventh order. And it indicated that it was unanimous vote, but I think there was one no and one no for the fifth and one no for the third, for the seventh. It indicated that it was unanimous.
No and one no on the 7th. Okay. Anything else from anybody else? No. Then I make a motion to approve the minutes from the Springfield Board License Commissioners hearing held on August 23rd, after the correction on the fifth order of business is made and the seventh order of business. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton? Peter, we can't hear you.
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Espinosa, yes. First item on the agenda is a new petition. It's a petition for a change of officers, directors, LLC managers, change of ownership interest, issuance, transfer of stock, new stockholder, and change of DBA for Vino Inc. DBA from Center Stage to the X Room located at 265-271 Dwight Street, Samuel Velasquez, manager of record.
So you may remember that we heard this 2 weeks ago, and the issue with this is that they had advertised for tonight rather than that meeting. So even though we voted to approve, they jumped the gun and had the hearing before tonight's meeting. So I would say that all we need to do is vote to affirm our approval of the transfer, and they are adding in tonight's meeting, which does not need to be advertised, what they omitted from the last meeting, which is the change of DBA from Center Stage to X Room.
Okay. Okay. Any questions about the petition from the commissioners? No. Peter, do you want to make that motion?
Sure. I make a motion to approve the petition for change of ownership interest and issuance, transfer of stock, new stockholder of Vino Inc. For Vino Inc., as well as a change of DBA from Center Stage to the X Room located at 265 Dwight Street, Samuel Velasquez, manager of record. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes.
Can't hear.
Second motion, petition for a change of hours for Tu Casa Restaurant Inc., DBA Tu Casa Restaurant, located at 427 White Street, Lourdes Jimenez, manager of record, from closing time from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Well, what the problem is? No.
Ms. Brown, we can hear you. I guess you can't hear us.
It sends me wild.
Okay, who is here for Tu Casa Restaurant? No one's here yet?
Yes. I thought I saw them. They were here. Oh, well.
I don't see anybody. So let's move on to the
Move
third
on.
one. Maybe we can come back. Third item on the agenda is a petition for a new pool table license for Cafe and Varieties LLC, DBA Cafe and Varieties located at 261 Locust Street, Pascasio Reynoso, manager of record. Is there someone here for Cafe and Variety? No.
I don't see anybody.
Okay. I do
Casa's back.
see Tucasa's back, so we'll go back to a petition for a change of hours for Tucasa Restaurant Inc., DBA Tucasa Restaurant located at 427 White Street, Lourdes Jimenez, manager of record. I believe this is a petition to have their closing time from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Ms. Jimenez? Hi.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
Ella dice están leyendo la petición para el cambio de hora.
Okay. So you have the floor now. Somebody need to mute themselves. Okay. Better. So Ms. Jimenez, I know you were here a few months back for a request. Am I correct? To change hours?
Yes,
Okay.
When was
Um,
that? Do we know when that was?
last meeting, it was en mayo, fue la última reunión. En mayo. It was in May, the last meeting. And you guys agreed that you reevaluate after Labor Day if the hours can be extended until 2 a.m.
I do recall the meeting. I do recall that we were going to reevaluate. Right.
Yes.
Any other commissioners remember this meeting?
Yes,
I
my
do recall
aunt's
saying we were gonna
like-
wait until after Labor Day, so it is after Labor Day.
Okay, so you've been closing at 1.
Yes, we do. And at the moment, we don't have any complaint for the neighbors or any report regarding our closing time.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody here from the council or any neighbors, public input? No?
I see nobody.
Okay. And you have not had any problems?
No,
I think if I'm right, you have a DJ, if I remember correctly.
yes. Yeah,
And
que tiene un day permiso.
Sí.
and that hasn't been a problem.
No,
Okay. And can you tell me again, what is it that you're doing for security?
¿qué haces para seguridad? ¿Qué tienes de seguridad?
Tengo una compañía, tengo seguridad en la puerta, chequean las carteras de las mujeres y chequean los hombres de arriba abajo con el detector y manualmente también.
We have a private security company hired. They do a check, the checkout clearance at the door. They check the wallet of women who go to the purse of the women who goes. Also, they check manually on the body of the gentlemen, and they check that they don't carry any object that might be dangerous or a weapon into the restaurant. We have 2 persons who works for security on the nighttime.
Y tengo también 2 puertas de salida por el frente y una de emergencia que siempre está desocupada en la parte de atrás.
We have 2 entries for main for the main doors, one in the restaurant area, one in the bar, and also we have 2 exits for emergency in the back of the.
Si necesitan el nombre, yo tengo una compañía de seguridad durante un año, tengo el nombre aquí disponible.
The security company that we have hired has been with us for over a year. We have the name of this company is Taurus Security in Springfield.
That was, what is it again? Taurus?
Taurus Security in Springfield.
Okay. Any
Great.
questions from the
Yeah,
commissioners?
I have a question. What is your capacity of your?
La capacidad pues
95 personas.
95%.
Era más, pero después de la pandemia lo redujeron a eso.
It was for more, but after the pandemic, it was reduce the
The cap-
space, the capacity to have less people because of COVID, and it's only 95 at the moment.
At 95, okay. Or normally you at 95 on the weekends, or are you normally at capacity, or are you working toward getting to capacity?
Que si se llega a la capacidad de 95
No,
o se...
Nunca se ha llegado, solamente al principio cuando hicimos una actividad de la, ¿cómo se llama? La fiesta ahora que viene de los puertorriqueños, que fueron muchas personas, pero nunca la capacidad completa, nunca.
I never have been to a full capacity at 95. Only once we have a private event. It was for the Puerto Rican parade, and it was very close to the maximum. But no other than that, usually it doesn't go to that high.
Pero sí, siempre hay los fines de semana 40, 45, 50 personas.
On weekends, it can go up to 45 to 50 persons at night.
Entran y salen.
They go in and out.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Any other questions from the commissioners? No? Okay. So, if we all can agree, I'll make a motion to approve the petition for change of hours for Tocasa Restaurant Inc., DBA Tocasa Restaurant located at 427 White Street, Lourdes Jimenez, manager record, from a closing time of 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Is there a second?
Yes.
Commissioner Cade? Commissioner Singleton?
No,
Okay. Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, thank you and good luck.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Remember that if anything ever happens, you have to call the police,
Yes.
okay?
Yes. I know them.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Um, Did someone come back for cafe? Cafe and variety? No? Okay. Next petition, is for a petition for a new license for Lotus Store 13 Inc., DBA Shamrock Market located at 116 St. James Avenue, 1116 St. James Avenue, Vishnu Patel, manager of record.
Hi, Rebecca Tebow here. Can you all hear me okay?
yes,
Hi, thank you. I'm an attorney with Doherty Wallace, Pillsbury and Murphy. I'm also here in the room, which we can move the camera if needed, with the applicant for Lotus Store 13 Inc. I have Glenny Patel in the room, who is the sole director and shareholder of the entity. I have Vishnu Patel in the room, who is the manager. I have Dinesh Patel, who is Glenny's spouse. And I have one of my colleagues, Isani Castro, also an attorney. So the applicant is a DBA Shamrock Market. They have, they're applying for a Section 15 off-premises beer and wine liquor license. You know the address. They are located in the Liberty Heights, Hungry Hills neighborhood, but they're right on the border of East Springfield. And I think we do have some members from the neighborhood council here too, which we met with and spoke with during the planning board process. The applicant purchased Shamrock Market in April of this year. The store has been operating since the purchase date. It has been operating since 2017 as a convenience store. They are looking to add sales of alcohol for the convenience of the customers. It is a typical convenience store. The alcohol, the proposal is that the alcohol will be kept on the shelves in the market and in a commercial cooler located on the rear wall of the store. They have 6 employees, 4 of whom are TIPS certified, including the manager, obviously. They have a security system. There is a parking lot right outside the building. They serve food. And as was described in the application, the building itself is a single-story building. It's approximately 3,300 square feet. And there are 2 doors which serve as an entrance or an exit, both of which are visible from the counter space from where the clerks will be located. As I mentioned, the manager, Vishnu Patel, is here. He is 24. He has been acting as the assistant manager over at Hampton Inn and Suites in Springfield for several years now. He does not have alcohol experience necessarily over there, but they do sell alcohol at the Hampton Inn, I'm sorry. And he has been in charge of inventory and ordering, and has also just been eyes on the ground over there with alcohol sales. He is currently available and on site as needed on an as needed basis and part-time, provided the alcohol license is granted. He intends to be there full-time as necessary. As I mentioned, he is TIP certified. He obtained that in February of this year. He took a training course to learn strategies for preventing illegal alcohol sales. So, as you know, not selling to underage individuals, and also preventing sales to intoxicated individuals. So he fully understands and appreciates the role of the manager and the importance in that in this application. He is named on the application and has responsibilities for that. He has obligations to oversee the staff and the operations. And he understands that if there are alleged violations, he will need to appear before your board to answer to this commission. As I mentioned, there are 3 other TIP certified individuals. They will be working at the store either on a full or part-time basis. As for the owners of Lotus Store 13, Glennie Patel is here with me. Oh, I'm getting a little feedback. Is everyone okay? She is the 100% shareholder, sole director, president of the company. She lives in and spends her time in Longmeadow and East Longmeadow, but her and her husband and family really are big supporters of the city of Springfield. Dinesh is a part owner of the Marriott Hotel at Tower Square and the Tower Square office building. And as you can see in the application, he is a part owner of the Hampton Inn in Springfield, which holds the other liquor license, hence the affidavit that we submitted showing an indirect beneficial interest. She has been going to the store on a as needed regular basis, helping it get started up with the new ownership. And Glennie and Dinesh have both been, I hope Ms. Brown and Ms. Melbourne, who I think are both here, will maybe speak to this too. They have been very responsive to the neighborhood's concerns. And they intend to continue to be responsive as needed. The neighborhood, individuals in the neighborhood have their actual cell phone numbers too. So we fixed any kind of complaints that may have been existence before they took over. I think that sums up the application and our presentation, but obviously we're all here to answer questions to the board, and so we're happy to do that if that's how you proceed at this point. Thank you thank you all for the opportunity to do this.
Thank you. Any questions from the board, commissioners?
I attended the planning board hearing for this, and the licensee did agree to continue while they met with the neighborhood council, which is commendable. And from what I recall, one of the major issues was non-patrons gathering in the parking lot of this convenience store and playing loud music and just kind of gathering there, even at night with headlights on and that kind of thing. And the licensee, the licensee agreed to, patrol their parking lot carefully and make sure that this wasn't happening. It was not supposed to be a gathering spot. It was supposed to be a parking lot for their customers. And then their customers were supposed to go on their way with their purchase when they were done. And I believe that the neighborhood council had a discussion with the licensee about that, and they are aware of this issue now. Could I ask how long this owner has owned this? You may have said, attorney, but I didn't catch it. How long have they been there?
Sure, thanks. Yes, they took over in April of this year.
This year. Okay, so this is new to them, and they are not really aware of the history of what the neighborhood has been putting up with the prior owner. So they are aware now, and it shouldn't be that difficult to look out the windows and see people, not customers, in their parking lot and shoo them away. And there should be free to call the police and escort them away if necessary. Hopefully that won't be an issue. And the neighborhood council's here, and they can refresh our memory if there's any other issues that they discussed with the licensee. But I recall that one.
Commissioners, anybody else? Okay, Ms. Brown?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, we can. There's a little feedback.
Okay, I have two systems going because I'm not sure which one's picking up. Hold on.
You can have two systems going.
Yeah, she has to shut one of them off.
I'm gonna shut this, I'm gonna try to shut this one. Is that better, commissioners?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Okay, thank you. So I've got the phone in the, all right, we're gonna do this. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here tonight. I have with me Tracy. She's a direct neighbor and has been one of the people who's been directly involved in all of these negotiations. We did convene several meetings with the owner, with the Patels, and we talked about the beer and wine. We did have significant discussion about the proposal, the property maintenance, the loitering, etc. I'm going to turn this over, if I can, Chairman, to Tracy, who's going to just say a few things, and then I'm going to wrap it up, if that's okay.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you. This is Tracy.
Hi, I live directly across the street from the convenience store. And first of all, I just want to thank Peter for bringing up all of the points that I was living with. I appreciate that very much. The Patels have been good. I haven't had any complaints about the parking lot. I just want to say that I don't oppose, but I do want all the commissioners to take into consideration that there are at least 5 other package stores in a half-a-mile radius. We are saturated with them. And I am a little bit worried about other convenience stores wanting the same thing, including Big Y, which I remember in the past has been denied for the same license, and they are right next door to this convenience store. So that concerns me a little bit with all the other convenience stores that will want it. And that's it for my concerns. I thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, the meetings that we had here in the neighborhood council office included the sharing of cell phone numbers and a really frank conversation about the trauma that the neighborhood had endured with the previous owner. So it was our sense that the current owners understood the kind of life disruption that the neighbors had. So the neighborhood council was encouraging people to share phone numbers, and we were pleased that everybody was willing to. So at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, if there is an issue, there's no communication situation. They'll be able to get directly to people. And that comforted the neighborhood people who were in this meeting. So that meeting really did establish a foundation of trust, and we're hoping that this whole thing can really be based on trust and good action. So therefore, the neighborhood council, based on the wishes of the neighbors, we're not going to oppose this project. However, we do want to say, as Tracy did, we are concerned generally in the city of Springfield with the number of licenses that are being given in fairly close proximity to schools and to churches and to other sensitive kind of residential areas. We appreciate your being willing to listen to that comment. But again, we're not opposed to this. We appreciate the fact that the petitioner has been forthcoming and cooperative, and we look forward to a nice relationship, assuming that you approve this tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tracy, as well.
Thank you.
I do recall, and one of my concerns personally is the amount of package stores that are in that neighborhood. And so I don't know if any of the commissioners have any other concerns or questions. I know that in the past we have taken into consideration the fact that, you know, how many liquor stores or package stores are in the neighborhood and in the area. And these are, I believe there's one right next door.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you talking about within the same vicinity, right next door?
Right next door.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right next door.
It's a fairly small parking lot, is that correct? It's not a large parking lot.
No, it's the front of the store.
Right, in front of the store.
Yeah.
So it seems like that would be easy to manage if people are congregating. And seem like that would be easy to manage by the business owners to get those cars out of there if they are congregating there. I'm just thinking of small parking lots, not that big.
I myself feel just like Miss Tracy and Miss Kathy mentioned, it's the fact that there's so many other stores nearby, and we have as a commission we have taken this into consideration in the past. So I myself don't agree. I don't think we should add any more another package store or beer and wine license to that particular neighborhood. I don't know.
Ms.
It is
Chairperson?
odd that there is one 20 feet basically literally abutting this parking lot.
Mhm.
And there are a number of dispensaries in serving the East Springfield neighborhood. Neighborhoods council and neighbors are not objecting. So the responsibility then is ours, whether we feel the neighborhood is adequately served and want to deny the license.
May we respond at all?
Sure.
Thank you. So there is in fact a liquor store next door. It is serviced by a different parking lot. We have our own parking lot. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number of parking spaces handy. I believe it's 12 or 18, but we are only applying for a beer and wine license at this. We're only applying for beer and wine, and the idea is that it would be for the convenience of our customers. Right now, if customers come to our store, technically they're not supposed to park in our lot and then go next door. So they would have to leave and go onto the street and go to another lot, which I think could create some traffic concerns from the exiting and entering. And we're not serving hard alcohol, which I think is important here. And it, again, it's for the convenience of the customers as we are serving hot, ready-to-made food. Ready to eat food, the Chester's chicken.
Thank you. And any other questions from the commission?
Do we know exactly how many package stores are within a close proximity besides this one that's next door?
There's
dis-
at least 5 within a half a mile radius.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We're talking package stores now, not just,
Different from alcohol establishments.
yes.
Full package stores. Yes, there are. I counted them.
Okay. I didn't remember. I know I
Do
had
you
it in my
know,
head.
could you tell us where they are? It's like.
Okay, there's Scrappy's on,
Scrappy's on East Street,
okay. Then
That's in
there,
Chicopee, though, right?
but it's right over the line.
but
Yeah.
it's
It is right over the
still
line.
right there.
It's Chicopee.
Fetty's.
Yeah.
Then there, up in the plaza, there's the Plaza Package Store.
That's a half
And
a mile
there's
away.
Say it again?
Is that a half a mile away, though?
Yeah.
It's less
Plaza
than half a
Package
mile.
Store?
It's right up in the Liberty Plaza.
It's in the Liberty Plaza, so it's probably right about on the line.
And then
didn't
and
measure
then
it.
there's one right across on Liberty Street, right adjacent up from the plaza, right up the street.
Right.
And then there, of course, is the Spirit Shop right next door. So that's 5 right in right about a half a mile radius. 1, 2, 3, 5, right.
It's on the edge of half a mile, but it's, they're all the same. It's all in the same sort of neighborhood trumping ground.
Okay. Okay, well, it sounds to me, I'll throw this out there, sounds like the neighborhood is already adequately served. And I would make a motion to deny this license based on valor and consideration. Number 1, the area is adequately served by liquor licensees already. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. So your petition has been denied. Just like we mentioned, we feel that the neighborhood is adequately
Adequately served.
served. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity to be before you. I wish we had a better understanding of that concern at an earlier stage. This is the first time it's
That is not.
been presented in this level of detail.
This is not right. for
But
individual
thank you.
city, you know what I mean? So we.
Welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You too.
Is there anyone here for the cafe variety? Cafe and variety? No. I make a motion to continue the petition for a new pool table license for Cafe and Variety LLC, DBA Cafe and Variety located at 261 Locust Street. Pascasio Reynoso, manager of record, to our next meeting, which is the
27th.
the 27th of September. There a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay. Now we have section 77 final hearing for Rose Entertainment LLC, DBA Rose, located at 555 Worthington Street, Antron Goodrich, manager of record, and this is for a license status. Ms. Fiore? Okay, Attorney Paul.
He's muted.
So sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
We can.
Okay,
Can you-
hi, how are you guys?
Good. Can you turn your camera on, Kristen, please?
Okay, I'll turn my camera on, but I'm actually really sick right now, so I would prefer to be off camera, but it's definitely at your discretion.
Thank you. Okay, so, Kristen, can you tell us what's going on? We did receive a request to, continue this hearing, but at this point, you know, it's been such a long time, and, you know, we're trying to, you know, get to the bottom, get you going, you know, what is it that's happening now, that's holding you back? I know that you did send pictures, you have your new hood. So what's going on, and when do you see, do you have another date?
Yeah, so I have the gas line installed. I have the hood installed. I have the Ansel/fire suppression installed. And the only thing I'm waiting for at this moment is the gas meter. So I did forward, I've been working with Eversource, and I guess it's considered like elevated pressure. So I thought it would be as easy as them coming and putting the meter in, but apparently they have to go through, they have to draw up the paperwork, send it to planning, approve it, and then schedule to have someone come out. And they said this is like their busy season, or, you know, whatever the case. Excuse me. So she did, her name is Kimberly, from Eversource Gas of Mass. She did send in an email that I forwarded this afternoon, just to kind of let you guys know, like, we are working together. And she estimates once the approval, or like once the proposal is approved, that it will take about 3 weeks to get out and set up the gas meter.
Once that meter is installed, is there anything else that you have to do, or anything else that's going to prevent you from opening?
So once the meter is installed, everyone else, the gas line, the hood, and the Ansel system, are just waiting for the meter to run the final test. So they have to do like what's called a puff test for the fire suppression, and the gas line has to tie into the meter. So really the only thing that's holding us up is the meter. Once that happens, they are, and when I say they, I mean the gas, the plumber, and the fire suppression are on track to come back, run the final test, which takes 1 day, and get everything going finally.
Is the water all set, the plumbing? You mentioned you had plumbing damage. Can you tell us
Yeah,
about?
so all the copper piping was removed before
Stolen.
I acquired the, yeah.
Oh, great.
So that, I mean, you know, maybe Miss Days was correct when she said kind of like I jumped the gun a little bit, but I wasn't anticipating that every single thing needed to be redone. Like all the copper piping from the basement to the roof was gone. That was pretty expensive. They cut the HVAC every 2 feet. I'm assuming looking for money or something stored in the HVAC. So that needed to be replaced. And everything was kind of just like ruined from sitting, you know, everything that was left was kind of been sitting for so long that it just needed to be replaced. Like there was no way that we could salvage that. So, you know, it definitely was a big project and a bigger project than I anticipated, but I have been, you know, for the last 2 years, like reaching out to the city and trying to get some assistance. You know, I know it's like a it's not a historical building, which I thought it would be because it's built in 1900, but it definitely is a staple in the city if it's not a historical building. But it's kind of, it's like no prevail trying to like get assistance or something like that. So I did recently get approved for the ARPA, but it does take a couple of months. And I requested 150,000 and they approved me for 15. So it's kind of definitely grateful, but you know, kind of, I wish I had some help, and I'd be open if you guys have any suggestions.
Ms.
You,
Fior,
in your email from September 21st, you mentioned structural damage at the front of the building. Could you tell us what that's about?
So there's the roof that is aluminum, and then about 2 feet, I guess it would be called the awning, about 2 feet from the roof to the side of the building, it was wooden instead. I don't know why they didn't continue the aluminum down, but it was wooden. So all of that wood was rotted. And there was actually it rotted into a hole from outside, because the way the roof is, all the water was just sitting there. So that was over a bathroom where like squirrels were getting in and chewing up all the wires, and water was getting in. So that has been corrected. That was on the front of Worthington Street, right by the Lido's awning. So that's where that was.
That has been corrected.
Yep,
All right.
that's all done.
Okay. Is that it? Is that the structural damage you were talking about?
Yeah, the building is pretty old. So there's like things here and there. We had to do some sealing to the foundation. Water was getting in. But it's kind of the same. I've spoken to other owners in the downtown area, and their buildings, their basements are also, getting water in and stuff like that. So we've set that up. We put new gutters on. Basically everything is redone.
Okay. So
You guys,
all you have left is the gas meter installation and the city inspections.
yes.
Yes. And we have a letter, an email from Basic Gas, Eversource, right? But they don't really give a date. Have they given you a
Yeah.
date?
She told me 3 weeks from the date of approval. And she said that maybe she can try to expedite it. But she said, the queue's a little backed up, and I told her, obviously, like I want to open as soon as possible so I can start making money. And so she said, she's going to do her best to kind of get everything together. So we've been working with the plumber and the person installing the gas line just to make sure, because it's a really big project. The kitchen is huge. The hood is 16 feet, and all the gas equipment is over 1 million BTUs. So it is like a pretty big meter, I guess. So she said maybe 3 weeks to get someone out there.
3 weeks from when? Today?
3 weeks approval from the approval of the proposal. I guess it has to go through a planning stage.
So that's not done yet? It hasn't been approved?
No.
Oh,
So it could take 3 weeks from now to be approved, but then it can take some time after that to get the work done.
No, she said it should only take she didn't say how long it would take to be approved. She said by sometime next week, it's possible that it could be approved. It's basically just paperwork that she has to write up, make sure we have all the correct BTUs for each piece of equipment, like the fryer, the gas stove, the charbroiler, the water heaters, the HVAC units on the rooftop units. It's just like everything that's going to be using gas. We have to make sure we have everything written down correctly and all the BTUs for that. So once that happens, which she said by next week we should be able to have that approved, and then schedule about 3 weeks out to get someone out there to put the meter in. Then once they put the meter, I have to have all the tests ran. Once all the tests, because the hood people, the gas line and the Ansel, they cannot come back and run the test until the kitchen is ready to cook. So once the gas line is there, it'll be ready to cook. They can finish all their testing, and then from there I can have the plumbing inspector come, the building inspector, and then the health inspector.
Any other questions? Kristen, I almost feel like you, perhaps you're not gonna be ready, anytime soon. Because I mean, you'll be relying on them to come out and get this, this work done. Hopefully 3 weeks from today, that's what you're doing, hoping that 3 weeks from today, you'd be up and running, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, so basically on my end done. So I am at the mercy of Eversource. Like I said, I didn't know it was gonna be like a big thing because I've been trying to contact them for the last 4 weeks. They already sent someone out to come look at the meter. There was issues with the addresses because the prior owner tried to separate it, with break time, and Jackie's Cakes was in there illegally. So there was issues with that. We got that sorted out within the last 3 to 4 weeks. And now we're finally at the stage where we're just waiting to get on, the schedule, get everything reviewed and get on the schedule.
So she said this project, whatever, it may be approved next week, and then it'll be 3 weeks from then. Is that right?
I asked her to estimate generously so that, we're not like saying, oh, it's going to take 2 days and it's going to take 2 weeks. I asked her to kind of be a little generous with the estimations. But that is what she told me. I can always keep you guys, looped into our email thread, or as soon as it gets approved, I can let you guys know. And then as soon as the date that she gives me for a tech to come out to install the meter, I can also keep you guys updated.
Even if it's 3 weeks until that time happens, when the inspectors come in, I think you indicated about 3 inspections, something could have to be redone or reassessed or whatever the case might be. So that would be time there as well.
And go ahead.
I do have the general contractor that I have working. He is really great. And everyone is up to code. Everyone does really, really good work. So I am pretty confident that, nothing will be a surprise. The inspector does pass by, like he stops by and comes and walks through. So, he's definitely pointed. He knows he's done some other work with my contractor, so he does know him. So he's been kind of keeping him updated on things that, how things need to be.
When you say inspector, you mean the city gas inspector? Or
I think the gas inspector. I think the building inspector.
Building inspector. Okay.
Any other questions?
I definitely want to open as soon as possible. I'm paying the taxes, I'm paying the insurance, everything is very expensive. I'm paying my contractors. I'm up to date on everything, not behind on any taxes, not behind on, any insurance, not behind on the $3,000 you have to pay for the license every year. So I really am right now just kind of at the mercy of Eversource. And the woman that I spoke with seems like she knows what she's doing. So, she's pretty competent. She's not just like a person that you call 1-800 and get a customer service rep. She actually, she's in charge of that department. So, I'm hoping it will go quick.
Yeah, I hope so too. So my only concern, Kristen, is that, the time for new applications and, renewals, it's almost there. Usually, come October, everyone is very busy. And by that, I mean like the inspectors and, to get someone. So I wonder if you would be delayed a little bit more because, inspectors are going to be busy during that time.
So I've been talking with a contractor who I've let him know, like, we need to make sure that we try to schedule something or let them know, like, around this time, we're going to need you guys to come back out. to do the final inspections, just like kind of like get ourselves in their schedule before it's booked up, the plan in it, in as much as advance as we can.
So what, if I may ask, what type of extension are you looking for? I'm assuming you are looking for an extension. What do you think?
Would we be able to do November?
On November 30th, the commission votes whether to approve the renewal for all the liquor licensees for 2024. So at the very latest, the commission could, on November 30th, say we are not satisfied with the progress Ms. Fiore is making, and we're not going to approve this particular license for renewal to 2024. That is the very last point, I think, where we can actually make a decision. Would it make the commissioners more comfortable on granting this extension if we were to tour the premises and see exactly what it looks like at this point? Just throwing it out there.
I think it's a good idea. I'm not opposed to it myself.
I would do it.
Are we going to see, Kristen, we're not going to see any surprises, right? We're going to see a building that looks like it's about ready to go, except for the gas line, if we went there. Okay. Have you got furniture and chairs and tables and?
Yes.
You do. I think Section 77 is designed for commissioners, local boards to deal with non-responsive licensees who have the textbook definition of a pocket license. They are holding on to a license in hope that they will be able to sell that to someone else and have no intention of using it themselves. In this instance, I don't feel that the textbook definition of a pocket license applies here. Ms. Fiore is giving us status reports that indicate that progress is being made. And the last thing supposedly that needs to happen is this gas meter installation and inspection. So I would be willing to wait. And I'm certainly willing to go meet the commissioners there to just kind of get a look at the place.
Well, I would say that I would agree with the November 30th date, but that would be the last alternative, as you've indicated. But I'm not politically or mechanically astute to determine whether something is in place or not.
You don't inspect gas meters part-time?
No, not me. So I'm willing to kind of wait for that date, the 30th, if that's okay.
Okay.
I guess
that's my recommendation. Yeah.
The 30th would be a renewal application, correct?
Yes. That's when we vote to renew the licenses.
Okay.
So we can cancel the license now for non-use, and we definitely have a license that has been issued and not used because it was issued, I believe Alicia told us, in March of 2022. So this is the guideline is 6 months. So we are way beyond the 6-month guideline of non-use. However, she is, according to her testimony, making progress toward an opening. So it has been a very long, and I think Kristen has learned a very valuable lesson that any building renovation takes 5 times longer than you expect it to take. But she is, according to her, making progress toward an opening soon. And I think that opening would include full kitchen in operation serving food, not, I got a case of beer in the cooler and I'm ready to serve a beer to somebody, which has been done in the past. I'm just telling you.
Right. Okay,
If Espinosa and Commissioner Signature and whoever else wants to stop by, you guys are definitely more than welcome. It doesn't have to be the whole commission if, if you guys don't want to, but I think, I'm proud of the progress that I made. It looks completely different. So, I'm like I said, I'm really proud of how different it looks. So if you guys do want to stop by, we can plan a day. And then, if not, I'll still keep you updated.
okay. Thank you for that. I think that I know Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio, Senator, and myself, we don't mind. I know Andrew is not an inspector, and while we're not going to go inspect, I don't know. But if you want to join us, most definitely, I wouldn't mind walking through and seeing the progress that she's made. I know that I've seen Kristen sometimes, out and in the neighborhood, and she's very passionate about the work that she's done to the building. So I wouldn't mind going there to see what you've done. Okay, so if there's a date and time that works best, maybe we can commissioners, we can plan a date and time and then let her know, maybe give her a couple of days so that she can choose from one of them and we can stop by.
Yeah.
Would that work? Okay.
Do we want to pick a time now that we're all talking? This Saturday, is everybody available at some point this Saturday?
I am not available on Saturday.
I'd have to be during the week for me.
During the
Yeah.
week. All right. Tomorrow night?
I'm a little under the weather, so if
you're
we
sick,
can
right. Okay.
have like the end of next week, like Thursday or Friday, just throw some times out there.
Thursday would be better for me. Friday I have an activity and I would not be able. So, but Thursday the 21st
Yeah.
is
Maria,
good for me.
Yeah, let's see. Thursday the 21st works for me as well.
Kristen?
That's good for me.
All right, Thursday, the 21st at what time? 6?
6 p.m.
Is that good?
That's fine with me.
Open till 6 on Thursday. That's what. Thursday, the 21st at 6 p.m.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you
Should
there.
I bring
Should you bring what?
some refreshments?
No.
Just hard hats.
Right.
Right, good. All right, so we'll be making a motion now.
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion to continue this to the renewal date of Thursday, November 30th for a full open kitchen operating restaurant. Or the license will not be renewed. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay.
We'll see you
Thank you,
next
Kristen.
Thursday.
Thank you. See you Thursday.
Okay.
Feel better.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Commissioner Ramirez texted me that he
Yeah, where had
Yeah,
you go? Biggie?
You got to go to the
probably probably
Yep.
it's Biggie time for him. Okay, so next item is the administrative review of incident reports. We have Springfield Liquor Mart.
This was odd.
The Liquor Mart?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the letter from the husband?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this woman has gone to the hospital 41 times, I think he said.
Yes.
I mean, we can We bring them in for a hearing?
Well, what exactly happened, though? I mean,
Wait a minute.
a hearing for over-serving a patron?
Plus, doesn't he have some kind of responsibility as a husband?
Thank you, Andrew. I was thinking the same thing. What responsibility is the husband taking in all of this?
Right.
And while I understand that, I can see her leaving maybe while he's working or doing something, playing golf. I don't know. But I think that there's also the responsibility of the establishment to identify that this woman's had enough alcohol and not sell more alcohol to her.
Right. But is she purchasing it prior to becoming intoxicated, though? I mean, is she buying, early in the day and then consuming?
Well, we would have, you're right. We would have to know more. I'm assuming that she's walking in already intoxicated.
I get it. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So if she's walking in already intoxicated, then we have a problem.
Exactly.
But you're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that, Maria.
Yeah, there's so many unanswered questions there. Like, how did she get to the package store? Did she walk? Did she drive?
Right.
Was she sober when she got there and then bought alcohol and went back home and drank it and got drunk? And that's not the package store owner's responsibility. What would we say to this licensee if we brought them in? That just to remind them that they're supposed to be observant of their customers to make sure that they're not already intoxicated?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, why not the husband have a conversation with the owner and say, hey, please don't serve my wife, but then she sounds like she's a type that may go elsewhere to purchase though, too.
Yeah.
Obviously there's this unfortunate situation going on there.
But again, should we be proactive and have them come in and remind them that, perhaps they should keep an eye on everyone? I mean, I've never heard we've never had an incident with them, so.
Not like this.
Right.
Okay.
They may have a completely different take on it as well,
And, is this, I don't know where I put this email. Is the email signed by somebody? Can we even identify this person and is that person willing to come in to the hearing and say, I'm the husband and my wife is, has a problem, and I don't know. It's just so odd.
I don't know.
It is. I know you have the email. I know he wrote his name and he typed up his name.
It was Michael Burns, but there was no phone number, no.
Right. No address there, right?
No address, no, just the email address if.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, any suggestions?
Well, I think we just call them in for information, just to see, maybe they have some take on this incident or what's going on with her. That's all we can do, I think. Just ask them.
We don't know who she is, but we could call the licensee in, as you said, for an informational hearing. Say, we've had this complaint. Have you got some 21-year-old kid out there who's tip certified and everything, but they not observant of the customers and just want to sell the bottle of cheap vodka to somebody. They got to be observant of the state of that customer and perhaps say, I feel that you don't need any more vodka today. I guess we could do an informational hearing and just remind them. I don't know what else we could do.
Right.
So I make a motion to have the Springfield Liquor Mart come in for an informational hearing.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay. Next incident report is from LaSue, incident of November, wow. September 3rd, 2023. Gary, this is a pretty thick report you sent us.
It is.
An interesting read too.
There's so many
Yeah.
bullets, I lost track of where all the bullet holes were.
Mhm.
This is,
Mhm.
we haven't had a report like this in quite a while.
Yeah.
No.
There's obviously management issues there. And failure to observe security plans, and this is quite a severe problem. So severe, I think we need to go directly to a final hearing on this and skip the pre-hearing conference, because if it's amazing that someone didn't get killed.
Mhm.
Absolutely amazing, with all those bullets flying everywhere. And this is obviously not good for downtown business.
And a lack of cooperation with the police department too is very
Is
concerning.
astounding.
But especially from the manager of record.
Yes,
You
who's been
know?
before us plenty of times.
Yes. So, are we able via Zoom to see the video? Because we have been criticized in the past about not observing video, as you recall. So I would assume we would want to see the video, that any video that's available, right? So we can make a informed decision here. So somehow Barry would have to get the video to, it has to stay in city property. Is that correct?
So
Mhm.
the video footage from 1550 Main Street and from LaSuque has been downloaded to a disk, which I can provide to the licensing department, and I believe anyone could share that. The body worn camera, however, cannot be downloaded to disk. That has to be sent via a link directly to a city email. So I'm assuming we've discussed it in the past. I don't think it's ever actually we've seen it, but that would have to go to Attorney Days, I believe.
It can come to me, Barry. I have a city email as well.
And so then Attorney Poe could share that on his Zoom page to the rest of us during the hearing.
That is correct.
So, okay. Would that be yes for commissioners only or to the public? Because we don't know who's watching.
See,
I think. Go ahead.
My thought is it's still a public hearing. And I'll double check with this. I mean, even when I use when video camera is used in the criminal sessions, it's played openly. It's not limited to, in-camera review by a judge. But I will double check. I will double check with Attorney Days and the law department.
Yeah, I was going to mention that I remember watching the video from Malecon.
Yes.
Online during a meeting, but I can't recall right now if that was during the final hearing we were having, or was it something that we watched at another time. But I do remember we were able to do that.
But that was not body worn camera footage.
Right, right.
So
That
is
was just
is
the
that the
city
issue? The city cameras from Main Street and the front of LaSuque from the licensee, that should be public, I would think. But is there a discernation between that and
body worn? Yeah,
the body
worn.
So we may have to go into executive session depending on what Attorney Poe finds out for the body worn camera portion.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just about to suggest that, Peter. Has this commission ever gone into executive session?
Rarely, but yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to clarify, the second footage, there's LaSoup, which is one camera on their patio, one camera inside. The other cameras are from 1550 Main Street. They are not city cameras. They're actually, that's the old federal courthouse, which is I guess
School
direct.
department, yeah. Right.
My former employer.
Right. So it's not city camera footage. Malacone was, but this isn't. This is from the old federal courthouse, which is now I believe the school department for the city of Springfield.
Yes.
Except
But
they don't.
the building is privately owned.
Yeah, I think it's owned by the
Correct.
Patels.
It is.
Is something, Barry, in that area that really attracts these kind of incidents? Because I know this is a change of manager, a change of owner, but we're having the same kind of problems as before.
Right. I mean, a lot of the, I don't want to characterize the trends in the city, but I mean, there's been a lot of gun violence. So, I don't even want to say it's understandable, but here it's not, because what happened probably could have been prevented had they called the police in a timely fashion. There was quite a delay between when there's a verbal argument that's seen on camera and there's a couple minutes and then there's a large physical altercation. And in essence, the victim who sustains a head injury and a facial injury, he walks all the way from LaSouc to Main Street and then back to LaSouc and then halfway back to Main Street before shots are fired. And it's around that time that the phone call is made to the police. I feel like if someone had called at the first sign of trouble, there would have been a different outcome. And, thank God no one was seriously injured. I mean, that being said, one person sustained a gunshot and the other person had a serious wound to his head and face. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. And, the way the police officers were treated when they got there was, I mean, it's inexcusable. And to demand a warrant when, the rules and regulations clearly state we can enter a premise at any point to inspect it. I mean, for the licensee not to know that and to request a warrant is just, there's no excuse. It's bad. It's not good for the city. It's not good for the other businesses down there. They're just trying to, make a living. And I know they've had meetings and I know no one down there is happy. So.
So
with you.
are we, if we're going to go to a final hearing, that means we're going to need witnesses. So will we be able to notify the licensee of the final hearing and schedule the necessary witnesses for September 27th?
I think in the past they needed more time.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Barry. Sorry.
I mean, as far as the police department goes, I mean, I think the witnesses would be myself, the police lieutenant, and the officer that were there. I mean, I don't know their availability for the next meeting. I could certainly look into that. If it was in 2 weeks, I'm sure they would be there unless they're on vacation out of the country.
Yeah.
Attorney Poe?
My only thought is maybe we set it for a pre-hearing conference on the 27th with the, oh no. Let's just I'm worried about due process, but I think we can go straight to the final hearing. I'll double check that, but otherwise I would think maybe a pre-hearing conference in 2 weeks, with the intention that it's probably going to go to final hearing at the first meeting in October. Should be the 11th.
We have gone to final hearing right from the violation report in the past. So we have a precedent for that. I just wanted to express the urgency of this situation because this can't happen. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen before our next hearing.
Right.
Yeah, let's do it then. I mean, if the officers, based on availability and everything, hopefully we can get all the footage that we need, and we can do it on the at the next meeting, the 27th of September.
Barry, do you think that it be possible? I know you said, as long as you can find everyone, but I know the pressure will probably be on you. So
the footage we already have, it's been downloaded to disk. I can, I'm off the next couple of days, but I'll be back Monday. I could have the DVDs to the licensing department Monday. And then the only issue would be the body worn camera. I can't facilitate. I can facilitate as far as sending an email to the supervisor in charge of that unit, and he can forward it. There is I think the link expires after he can set the parameters. So I can get in touch with Attorney Poe and figure out how to get that to him. I'm sure if they have an attorney, they're going to want to view that first as well. But I believe that has to be done in conjunction with Attorney Poe. It can't be forwarded. So it can be sent to a city email, and that's I know there's an issue before with a different attorney. So it just they basically have to meet and watch it together. They can't have their own copy because of privacy issues with the body worn camera footage.
Okay. Okay. So I'll make a motion to move on to a final hearing for Lasuk for the incident of September 3rd, 2023.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, next item is Fuego Sports Bar for an incident of August 26, 2023. Did everyone have an opportunity to read
Yes.
this report? Okay, no action. It seemed like everyone did say that nothing happened inside the establishment. Unfortunately, it was the shooting, but it did not start at the bar.
So this car just pulled up and said, "That's the guy," and they shot him and drove away.
It says that they asked for him by name, right? Facebook name is what it says.
Oh, Facebook name, yes.
They asked for him by his Facebook name. This is one of the ones that I don't know how you prevent this. Clearly, they knew he was there and he was targeted. They say the staff didn't hear the shots, which there's really no way to prove that they could have heard them. It is right across the street, but everyone we spoke to, nothing happened inside, and this was across the street. There's a boxing establishment, and there's a block of buildings, and that's where they were parked when this happened.
I make a motion to take no action for Fuego Sports Bar on the incident of August 26, 2020. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, next item is Jackalope incident of August 29th, 2023. Everyone read the
Yes.
report? Okay. So this one is just someone was disorderly.
He seemed to be under the influence of
Trespassing.
something, either drunk or
A
high.
little overserved.
Yeah, it sounds it. Yeah,
And then decided to come back.
and then come back. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to take no action.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. I do have here a report for the zone, but it's not on the agenda. This is an incident at closing time, September 2nd, 2023. It was with the first packet. Did anybody else get it?
Yeah, I recall seeing something.
It was with the agenda in the Word document in that.
It was the day we received the reports, Jack
Oh.
Loeb and all that. This one was there as well, for the zone, but
Okay.
it's not on the agenda.
All right.
So we don't hear it today then.
Correct.
Okay. And it's not on the agenda, so we don't have to vote on it. Okay, is there anything else? Attorney Poe, nothing else?
Nothing else.
Okay. Then I make a motion to adjourn at 6:51 p.m.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
See you later.